Black Americans in Dallas took their turn today, following the lead of others in other major cities, to present to a church gathering the Black Manifesto demanding $500 million. The forum was the North Texas Association of United Methodist Church, meeting in the ballroom here at the Sheraton Dallas Hotel. The blacks' visit had been rumored following a similar appearance at a conference in Houston, and plainclothes policemen were on hand all morning. 4 members of the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee, SNCC, appeared, accompanied by welfare mother Ruth Jefferson and 2 other women, went straight to the platform and sat down. Soon they were introduced by Bishop Kenneth Pope, the presiding officer, then outlined their demands. Mickey McGuire, principal spokesman for the blacks, summarized the presentation.
Black brothers and sisters, for centuries we have been forced to live as colonized people inside the United States, victimized by the most vicious racist system in the world. We have helped to build the most industrial country in the world. We are therefore demanding of the white Christian churches and Jewish synagogues, which are a part and parcel of the system of racism, that they began to pay reparations to black people in this country. We are demanding $500 million from the Christian white churches and Jewish synagogues. This toll comes to $15 per nigger.
The blacks asked for a show of hands from those who would support their manifesto, and there was not a hand seen in the audience. Bishop Pope then offered a 3-point statement of concern.
1, we express appreciation for the orderly and courteous manner of their visit. They were polite in every respect. Number 2, that we recognize the urgent and Christian need of black people today, which those visiting us have conveyed to this body. Number 3, we promise to dedicate ourselves individually and as a church to the fullest extent in behalf of the welfare of black people in this country.
After Bishop Pope's 3-point statement, most delegates stood and many applauded. We asked Mike Dodd for his reaction to the Methodist response.
We'll wait till we see it. When we see what we want to see in black economics within the community itself, with black control and black owned, then we'll see. And we don't bring it as a half a loaf. You know, if anything, the whole bakery.
If I had been as dispossessed as they have been, I would probably be as desperate in my expectations.
Earlier today, the Methodist Conference approved a merger with a corresponding Negro Methodist Association. All associations in Texas have now approved the merger, with the exception of the West Texas Conference, which is Negro, and is expected to approve the merger at a meeting next week. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News.
Contact aid has passed on to me your letter to the 18-year-old girl concerning the Commerce Street newsstand and some of the pornographic material that you observed there. You may have heard about it, but some 2 weeks ago I met with the police, the city attorney's office, and we made our plans to make purchases of this material. We purchased 6 buys of it, and at grand jury, we took this matter to the grand jury, and the grand jury indicted 3 persons 6 times, 2 times apiece, for possession of pornographic literature. We also filed Monday an injunction in Judge D. Brown's Walker, which will be heard in the morning, hoping to get this place restrained from exhibiting pornographic literature, and also an order seizing the material that was not purchased. This is part of a growing problem filth is flooding the mails of Dallas citizens. They're sending it on to us. We also have checked at least 10 other newsstands and will be checking others in the future. And any that we find with the pornography as defined by the Supreme Court, which incidentally limits us a great deal, you may rest assured that cases will be presented to the grand jury and these persons will be brought to trial, and we hope that some can, if not all, will receive the maximum penalty of 2 years in jail and a $2,500 fine. Thank you for your interest.
I have done many summer stock shows, but walking into this theater yesterday, as I told Tom Hughes, was like walking into a theater in New York City. And that's no lie. I'd heard all about this theater and about how professional and how big and etc. But the stagehands, the scenery, the lights, the entire approach of the operation here is very New York. I mean, it's, legitimate theater. It doesn't feel like summer stock. It feels like,
Have you worked the stage yet? A lot of people are very unhappy with the musical. They say the auditorium's too big. Does this bother you?
Not yet, it hasn't. If I see too many empty seats, it will. But that was one of the first things I said to Mr. Hughes yesterday, that I liked it. I think it's a warm theater.
What about it's so pertinent right now, I don't know what you'd call it, nudity on the stage? What do you think about it? As an actress.
I think it's absurd. I don't think I would do it. I enjoyed it very much in Hair, I must say. I loved that show, and I loved everything they had to say. And when it came to the new scene, they all looked like beautiful Greek statues. It was done very tastefully. But these other shows that have been opening recently, and this Curious Yellow, and all those sorts of films, I think are unnecessary. That's all. I'm not saying that I couldn't enjoy it if it were tasteful.
Cheetah, do you get homesick or dog sick when you're away?
Dog sick. Well, this isn't my dog, but I just love it. Yes, of course I do. I get terribly homesick. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and as I told you before, guinea pigs, cats, and dogs. But I'm very much a homebody. I do like to travel, but I like to travel with my family. And I have a nice house in California, and I'm very happy there, so I do miss it.
About local theater, do you think that productions like this, like summer musicals, are kind of going out of vogue almost? We're seeing, more and more, for instance, locally, dinner theaters and semi-professional theaters. Do you feel that this is not quite as...
Well, I think that some of the summer stock the past few years is suffering because there's very little coming out of New York. I mean, there are very few shows that are surviving in New York, and that's where it comes from. The show in New York opens, it's a smash hit, and the summer stock shows take it from there. I think until they do start producing in New York City again, that you'll find yourself seeing, repeating an awful lot of shows, or, which is not bad either. I mean, they're pretty terrific shows, but you don't want to see them too often. Or one season and then the next season you have the same thing. You will get your dinner shows too. They have quite a bit of those, quite a few of those in New York.
What would you prefer doing? An old standard kind of show or a new show, say in a circumstance like this? Do you like to do new shows in this kind of circumstance?
In this particular circumstance, in this theater, I think that we could do an original play. I think with all the setup that you have here, you could do an original play. I do not think that in most summer stock theaters you can.